Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. We all know that love is in the air. It is Valentine season. Well, Valentine can be very beautiful, and at the same time, it can be triggering for others. For some, it is a time that reminds them of a love that hurts them, or for others who still find it difficult to believe in the concept of love. Today, we'll be talking about trauma, we'll be talking about experience, we'll be talking about healing, and most importantly, we'll be talking about what love should look like when God is involved. Today's session is very special to me. I am seated with a man who speaks from a well of wisdom, purpose, and truth. Apostle Jonathan Lagang is a father, is a leader, a mentor, and a lover of people. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting to be with us this evening.
Pleasure's all mine. I'm
So,
glad to be here.
thank you, sir. Well, we have loads of questions from the heart of men and women,
Okay.
and we wrote them in segments so it will be
Okay.
easier to navigate. So,
All
the
right.
first set of questions are on love and expectations.
All right.
Yes. The first person on this list says, can love exist without provision, consistency, and responsibility? Or are we just spiritualizing irresponsibility?
Are we just spiritualizing irresponsibility?
Yes.
Well, when you think through the question, I think it's more of a cultural disposition. I think it's a cultural mentality. When you begin to talk about responsibility, especially in the context of financial responsibility
Mm,
for one another. First of all, this is a relationship, not a marriage,
mm,
because both individuals are partners.
mm,
So I said it's a cultural issue because this is when you judge from the context of our African society, that's been that heritage passed down in our culture that men are responsible for all the needs
mm.
in a family setting.
True, very true.
But we also imported it into courtship or romantic relationships between two individuals. So I think when you look at the question, it's more of a cultural issue. The person is battling with a prevailing cultural ideology that is still not neutral, a whole lot biased.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, this is not a marital union where there is anything in between to bring out the responsibility in quote of the man. Because when you measure responsibility in relationships, especially in the African setting, most times it's about the man bringing the money
Yes.
and the woman bringing what? You see that now. Whilst it is good for the man to be a man when he can and be benevolent financially, I think um, we should look at it from the standpoint of partnership. Two of us are coming into a a love relationship, a romantic relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and so we should be responsible for one another. It should be a 50-50 thing where one person is always ready to help the other, always ready to meet the need. It should be almost like a competition between the two if it is truly love, if it is true love.
Mm.
And then the aspect of spiritualizing is also another extreme that should not be touched. If you need to show love to a person, show it by giving. And when you don't have to give, communicate effectively for the person to understand and bear with you until you have, and not hide around religion or culture to try to um, play to the extreme and shy away from something that is our responsibility. I think, point blank, it's the responsibility of both parties in a relationship to care for each other.
True.
But when you bring it into a marital union, then the template changes a bit.
And so I think I love how you boiled it down to cultural norms.
Yes.
Because I think
Yes.
because of that thing, that is why this get rich quick syndrome is common
It's,
in young boys now, because they all want to put up to a
everybody's
responsibility that
trying
is
to
not there.
in quote.
Yes.
So you see, It's culture. It frames our values and our mindsets,
True, very
and
true.
sometimes we are too culturized that we don't want to question the things that were passed down to us. And I think we should be able to question it legitimately. What's the legitimacy of this belief? Where did it come from? Who brought this ideology? On what basis?
Yes.
So that we don't keep chasing clout and pursuing what is false.
True.
I
Thank
think
you
that's my
so much.
opinion on
Thank you
that.
so much, sir. That
Yes.
says it all. Thank you, sir. The next question here, this person says, why do people stay in relationships that constantly drain them emotionally and spiritually?
Why do people stay?
Stay. Yes.
Well, there is that component of love that tends to believe, and it's true.
Hmm.
True love believes, hopes in all things, believes in all things. Somewhere in that individual, they believe this person will get better. And whilst it's a good virtue to
Hmm.
possess in true love for the other partner in the relationship, I think we also need to match that with reality, that things don't change because of time. Time doesn't change things. Time only reveals processes. It is process that changes things. And so perhaps that person keeps hoping and believing that someday this person will get better, and they are being drained and it's becoming more toxic. Or maybe they feel that they have made certain commitments that they shouldn't have made from the beginning and are afraid of going out. Let's look at it from this perspective. Even though society is almost uh, blacking out on morality,
Hmm.
but let's go to it this way. Two people in a relationship, a boy and a girl, and let's say um, this relationship has become so toxic. Perhaps the guy has some habits that he's not ready to change
Hmm.
or improve on, but the lady, instead of leaving, is just believing that someday it will change. If she knows it is a toxic space and doesn't want to leave, the question is, what has she done? What kind of commitments did she make in that
Hmm.
relationship that
Yes.
makes her think it is impossible to turn away from? There are certain commitments that are not needed at the courtship stage of a relationship. You should wait till you settle down and you are at a marital, maybe in the marital space, it can be
Hmm.
acceptable. So that's what I think. But generally, if it has become toxic and it's not helping you to grow, you should walk away while you still can.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
The next question, this person says, is love enough to sustain a relationship, or is love just the starting point?
Love can begin a relationship and become one of the adhesives,
Hmm.
one of the cohesion forces that sustains a relationship. But I would strongly advise that for the proper sustenance of every relationship, add to love, purpose, truth, and commitment. I believe that anything on four legs is balanced.
Thank you so
Mhm.
much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you heard the list of things, right? Purpose,
Truth
truth,
and
and
commitment.
commitment. That is,
Mhm.
add these three to love, making them four. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Then this person says, oh, I've already asked this question. So that was our last question on love and
Love and
expectations.
expectations. Okay.
So we're moving on to the brokenness, trauma, and pattern segment. And we have a few questions here. The first question here, the person says, how does unresolved childhood trauma show up in adult relationships without us realizing it?
Wow. Yes, and it's sad to say that many people who have been a victim of childhood trauma still have their traumatic experiences unresolved.
Mhm.
Sad to say that. And because life exists in patterns and cycles, it is inevitable to find out that whatever happened in your childhood would have framed a mindset that affects you greatly when you are an adult. Okay?
Yes,
Because you
true.
see, our experience goes a long way in shaping our ideologies about life. And when your ideology becomes when you encourage and accommodate an ideology over time, it becomes a mindset.
Nice.
You build paradigms on that and you just remain like that. So most times a relationship is even the litmus test to know if a person had childhood traumas or not, and if their traumas were dealt with
Oh, no.
or not, and well dealt with. Yes, because
So it can be dealt with and not well dealt with.
exactly, it can be well resolved or badly resolved.
True.
Yes, yes. So if most times a relationship that opens everything, and that's the reason why when it is discovered within a relationship that this person still suffers from a lot of childhood trauma that has not been resolved, the partner now has to go an extra mile to support that person and patiently help them come out of that trauma. Because why that trauma still exists is because there is a mindset that has sustained that injury to their soul. A bad experience, and then a thought that says, this is how people are, or this set of gender is. And for as long as they uphold that mindset, that wound is deep in their soul and is yet to be healed. So most times it is discovered in a relationship. And that's the reason why it still takes a relationship one way or the other, whether it's a romantic relationship or it's a relationship with individuals around you or your environment, to help you heal and resolve those experiences, those traumas. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. There's this question that caught my attention and this person says, why do some people keep attracting the same type of partner despite praying against it?
Because your mind is attracting them. If you pray without having a change of mindset, you will still attract the same person every day. It's like doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So whilst you pray, change your mind, change your thinking. As a matter of fact, most times when we change our thinking, our mindset, and shift our paradigms, we would have very little need to pray about some of these things. Sometimes the answer to the prayer may be to change your mindset so you can attract the right people. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. So in a nutshell, it's just like if I'm praying to God to give me a tall, dark, and handsome kind of man, I have to change my mindset so I don't attract the opposite.
Yes, and
Thank you.
part of changing it is, why do you want a tall, dark, and handsome man? There's nothing wrong with that. But you see, our motives reveal our mindset.
True, true.
Or maybe somebody thinks a tall, dark, and handsome man will be most suitable for me. And then that person doesn't check the place of virtue, of character, of morality, and all of these things beyond physical looks. So I think it's always a mindset issue.
Thank you so much, sir.
That's why I think it is very important that when you come into a relationship, knowing you came with expectations, learn to submit your expectations to match with the current reality. Yeah.
Submit your expectations to match the current reality is the word for this season, honestly.
Indeed.
Thank you so much, sir.
That's true.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, this person says, is it possible to love someone deeply and still need to walk away for your sanity?
Yes. Sometimes true love rejects. If the space has become toxic, or one of the individual partners are not ready to change their mindset, or they are not experiencing development, there is no mutual growth. These are some of the underlying factors. You would be doing well to walk away if you truly love that person, so that you don't proceed deep into the relationship and then the both of you hurt each other and eventually have to part ways, having both your souls injured and becoming a problem to other people whom you will have relationships with.
True.
So I think it is best. Any love that cannot walk away when there is need for that person to walk away, then there's something else we need to call that kind of desire. It's no longer love. All right. I love a 4-year-old child so much. Will I give him a car to drive?
No.
Absolutely no.
No.
And so true love can also reject things. And it's one reality that I think this generation need to accept, that sometimes the best way to love certain kinds of people who will not contribute to your growth and development and who are not aligned or in line with your purpose is to walk away.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. We don't have much to say, but I think you got that line. You have to just walk away. If it is not good for you, just walk away. Thank you so much, sir.
And if it's not good for the other person too,
The other person should walk away.
you should walk away.
Oh,
it,
so
it
but
is
what
good for
if
you and not good for the
good
other
for the other
person.
person? But what if
You
the
can
other
walk away.
person doesn't know that it's not good for them? Will it be manipulative of me to stay knowing fully well that I am not good for the other person?
That's where understanding comes in, through the action of communication. You're in that relationship to communicate with one another and better understand each other. If the person doesn't know it is not good for them, then it is in communication that you will help them realize it is not good for you. And sometimes, after trying to communicate that and the person still insists, the best action to communicate and effectively stamp in them that it's not good for them is to walk away too. It has to be good for you and the other person. That's the reason why commitment is one of the pillars for every true and long-lasting relationship to stand on.
Thank you so much, sir. So if it's not good for both parties, please walk away from each other in peace. Thank you so much, sir.
Or in pieces.
Yes, it can happen either way. Depends on what you want for yourself.
So I think peace is better.
Thank you, sir. So this person says, can broken people love you well, or do they first need healing before commitment?
Well, everybody has the right to love because love exists in everybody, broken or not, injured or not, traumatized or not, and everybody should be given the chance to love. It's the symphony of life, love. It's the beauty of life. But I think that it's also important to know that you can be healed if you are broken, either within or without the relationship. So it's on both sides, it's correct. A broken person can love and find true love that helps them to heal. But I think it is better when that broken person seeks healing before going into a romantic commitment. And you see, whether you are in a relationship, a romantic relationship, or outside, you still need a relationship to heal. Relationship with the right people, with the right environment, with the right circumstances to heal.
Thank you so much, sir. So what brings true healing is just the right relationship.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That's the reason why relationships exist.
Yes,
it's meant to advance you.
Yes, sir.
It's meant to help you grow, develop, and get better.
Yes.
I think we should put that from the beginning. Yes.
Very important.
Yes, we should.
Thank you so much, sir. So we're done with that segment, and our next segment that we are taking is hard Valentine questions. The ones that sting.
Hard Valentine question. I hope it
Yes.
will not be hard on me too.
I
All
hope
right.
so.
Hit me. Let's go.
Thank you, sir. So this first question, the person said, what would you say to someone who feels unchosen every Valentine season, coined from cultural and societal perspective / experience?
I think this question now really relates with identity, discovering your identity as a person, because the understanding and conviction of knowing who you are should not be tied to an event and should not be bounded by instilled cultural values or norms, cultural orientation, as it were. Every individual human being should find themselves by understanding their original or their individual uniqueness. That's the word. Because if I say original and uniqueness, it's almost same thing. And so you don't need the endorsement or vetting of an occasion, an event, or a season to determine who you are. You need to discover who you are first before bringing it in the context of, because at the end of the day, true love goes beyond Valentine. Okay? Valentine was just a humanly carved moment within the year to celebrate what people term as true love. Because, you know, the whole origin of Valentine, the priest calls Helen Valentine and all of that. So, but our understanding of true love should go beyond an event. An event is only to make us reminisce and to reckon with a reality that should be established in our daily lives. So my answer to that person is, you have an issue of identity to sort out. You need to discover and understand who you are.
Thank you so much, sir. So this next person said, what should a woman do? I think this is from a lady. What should a woman do when she's emotionally invested, but the man isn't progressing in the relationship or the relationship itself?
Move on. Every relationship, we talked about relationships to be built on love, purpose being number two.
Number two.
All right. We can unconditionally form a bond with one another. But then when that bond is funded, we need to ask ourselves, to what purpose is this union and where is it headed? When you take away the position of purpose and destiny, it's just going to be a waste of time. And really, nothing changes because of time. Things only change with time when subjected to process. So if you are not growing, the person talked about, okay, the partner, the man not growing,
is not progressing the relationship. It's just like the person keeps saying, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, I want to marry you, but just words, action wise, the person is not progressing.
Then maybe he's not ready to make a commitment. So move on, find somebody who is ready.
I think you heard that right.
Yes, and a flip side to that can be, you know, sometimes, okay, when you bring it to the context of development, if my partner in a relationship is not growing or developing, I should also ask myself, what is it that I am not doing? Because you are there to influence or stimulate the other person. You are to act as an external stimuli to that individual. So sometimes if the individual is not growing or progressing, it may be because of lack of or inadequate or insufficient external stimuli, which should come from you. That's the flip side.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's this African culture that we have as African women. Let me use that, especially from this side country.
That's the thing with culture again.
It's always about the man being the one to make the first move in everything.
And that's the reason why many marriages are unstable and divorce rate is increasing, because we have not questioned the norm that has not brought a lot of advantage. The uniqueness of the woman folk is not to be trapped by the understanding caged within a cultural setting. Human beings were made before culture existed.
Very true.
And I think that's what we need to discover. Maybe we'll talk about that as we progress. But that's something we'll need to deal with, that cultural ideology. I don't think any relationship will really progress. At best, they will just manage themselves or tolerate themselves. But if it should be enjoyed and should grow, then the two people need to question the culture, the cultural orientation of their backgrounds, and find out which one is needed. Maybe the moral side can be okay, but culture that doesn't allow you to discover who you are and unleash your potentials well enough to help you grow and help the other person develop should be questioned. And I really think we need to do something about this. I'm not against culture, but I'm just saying we need to question everything we believe. We should not be handed down things and then just receive it and continue. Otherwise, it's slavery extended from one generation to the other.
So, moving on from that, this person says, is waiting always virtuous, or can waiting become an excuse for fear and indecision?
I think the question is the answer. Waiting is a virtuous or can be considered virtuous, and sometimes it can be because of fear and indecision. When it is because of fear and indecision, it's no longer waiting, it's inactivity. That's what we'll call it. It's not waiting.
It's no longer waiting.
But waiting means deliberate pause because of an intention or an action that will be engaged. But waiting in the midst of fear and what's the other word you use there? Indecision is inactivity, is not waiting. Because the reason why you're waiting is because you intend to move and you have calculated your move. But if you are waiting because you are afraid or because you are indecisive, you are inactive. You're not waiting.
So if the person discovers that it's fear that is making them stay in this particular place, they should leave that place immediately.
If they discover it's fear, fear is sourced from ignorance. Fear is sponsored by ignorance. So if fear is the reason why they are static or inactive, then they are ignorant about something. There's something they don't know. Either about themselves or about the process or about the partner. And because of the twist of the question, bending it to the area of inactivity, fear, and all of that. So it gives you a glimpse, it gives you an idea or this vibe of, getting married, from relationship to marriage. And I want to say something to that. I believe that for every romantic relationship to move from the stage of courtship to marital settlement, I believe that the man and the woman have equal roles to play. It is not left to the prerogative of the man to know if, okay, when are you ready to settle down? So it's the man that determines. If the man is the only one that determines when both of them should get married, then it means we are saying maturity and responsibility only stands on the part of the man. And it still boils down to culture. That's why I say we need to question what we believe. Because if the woman is waiting for the man to get matured and responsible and be the one to initiate settling down, then I'm asking, what's that woman doing in the relationship? Was she prepared to maritally settle down before entering the relationship? So the next time you ask a guy, when are we getting married? Here's what I would advise the guy. Ask her, are you ready to settle down? Are you ready to be married? Are you ready to make the commitment? If we really begin to see it as, like they say in English, it takes two to tango. When we see it from that perspective, I think it changes a lot. And it brings a lot of people out of bondages, what they call relationships, which have become situationships. It boils on both the man and the woman. Both of them need to be matured and willing to make the commitment of responsibility for each other. If it stands only on one point, you are already seeing a marriage headed for the rocks. And chances are that they are already having problems in that relationship. And that's the reason why most relationships, without without initiating marriage, most relationships they lose their vigor before it even gets to 2 years. So you see, the marriage becomes an escape plan for two unprepared adults who are not willing to make the commitment. And that's because one person is waiting for the other person to do what they should do and stimulate the other person. So it's about stimulating and influencing one another towards the right direction. That's the way we should see it. It's equal. Yes.
So this person asked a question that I think is almost in line. This person says, why do people stay because of potential instead of reality?
Why do people stay?
Yes, it's a two-in-one question. So the second part of the question says, what is the danger of confusing loneliness with love?
Okay. First part, why do people
Why
stay?
do people stay? Because of potential instead of reality. It's like, I'm seeing this person now, you're on rags, but because I think I have a vision of who you would be later, so I'm staying because of that vision instead of your reality.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the vision to materialize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So why do people stay? Because of that potential instead of the reality they see.
Maybe because they are visionary.
Hmm.
And this world is ruled by people of vision. Every meaningful life, every purposeful life is birthed by being visionary. So if you are staying because of potential more than realities, because you are visionary, that someday when time catches up with truth, potential will materialize and become the new reality.
Hmm.
Then the second part of the
The second
question,
part, what is the danger of confusing loneliness with love?
let's differentiate between loneliness and aloneness. Being lonely and being alone are two different things. You know, when you read the Bible in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18, God said, it's not good for the man to be alone. I will make a help made suitable for him. Already in the verses before, God had planted that man in the garden and given him instructions, giving him a purpose. He was busy, he was working, he had something to live for. And then God says, no, you need companionship. So being alone is absence of companionship, but being lonely is absence of purpose. So now bringing it to the question, what is the
danger of
the danger?
confusing loneliness with love?
Good. So if somebody is lonely and that's the reason why they need to be in a relationship, then it means that love is not birthing the relationship. It's emotions and feelings. And it's going to last according to the lifespan of the emotions and feelings. It's like smoke. It starts and it soon disappears. So you don't go into a relationship because you feel lonely. You go into a relationship because you respond to love, and you can only respond to something you understand or you have a conviction about.
True, very true.
And you don't need a romantic relationship to keep you from being lonely. You need purpose.
So lack of purpose can also be.
Yes, and you can even start from if you don't even know your purpose yet in life, start from discovering your identity. Know you who you are first before you know what you are meant to be or what you are meant to do. So it's a very wide gap. It shouldn't even exist on the same ground. Loneliness and love. No, no. One is absence of purpose. The other one, it could have even been justifiable to say, okay, I'm alone. That's why I want to go into a relationship. So you are doing something with your life, but you need companionship. That may be justifiable. But when you are lonely, my brother or my sister, you lack purpose. And it's something you need to come to terms with, accept, and begin a discovery. Maybe on that path of rediscovering yourself and your purpose, you may find love.
We are done with this segment, so we are moving on to another segment. And this particular one is about self-worth,
all right,
boundaries, and then crowning moment.
Okay.
It's a 3-in-1 segment.
I will need to understand what the crowning moments are.
Well, I think this is talking about more like self-discovery and knowing who you are and whose you are. So I think this is the crowning moment part, knowing whose you are.
Of the conversation.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, that's good.
So the first question here, this person said, at what point does loyalty become self-betrayal? Betrayal, self-betrayal.
That's a very intelligent question. Because from the way I see it, there's a fine line, a very thin line that separates loyalty and self-betrayal. Because sometimes, because you remain loyal to a cause or to a relationship or to a partner, you may be hurting yourself. So I think this is where you will need to draw the line. What I am loyal to, number one, is it noble? Number two, how has it affected me positively? Number three, does it have assurance of a future? Because loyalty is not stupidity. No. Loyalty is faithful devotion to a cause. And you have to see something in it that is best for you. Not just what you want, but what you need. What will stimulate you to become a better version of yourself. And then you faithfully devote yourself to that cause. Otherwise, you may just keep hurting yourself, lying to yourself, thinking that someday it will become what I want it to be. No. In fact, do you know that I believe that reality in every relationship is defined from the very beginning?
Yes.
See, when we say people change, it's not like, and in the negative sense, it's not like they are really changing in, they were not this before and they became, no. It's their reality being expressed, being revealed. That was who they always were. But it was not seen because there was no relationship. Remember, we talked about, when we were talking about trauma, we talked about relationships being the litmus test.
Yeah.
So if that person is greedy, for instance, they were always greedy. You just didn't know until you entered into a relationship with them. So as you begin to see this person's reality revealed over time, ask yourself those three questions. Number one, is this relationship a noble cause? Number two, how has it affected me positively? And number three, does he have assurance of a fruitful future? If you stammer in answering those questions, then you need to make a very hard decision. Otherwise, you have switched from loyalty to self-betrayal. And you shouldn't self-destruct because you're trying to keep a relationship. No. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself, not more than yourself.
More than. True. Yes, sir. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. So this person said, how does a woman rebuild her confidence after being emotionally diminished in a relationship? Emotionally diminished. And the person puts the diminished in quotes.
Okay.
Yes.
That means she knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
Honestly, I would have wished you answered the question yourself because this is a woman asking. So you may probably see it in a context that I don't see. But how can a woman rebuild herself? When you can be emotionally diminished when you are in a toxic relationship, when you keep getting negative energy from the person, and several other circumstances. But one thing that is foundational that you should carry to every relationship is a discovery of who you are, a discovery of your identity. As long as that foundation stays solid, emotional degradation or depletion is temporal.
Yes.
You can rise again because you know yourself beyond your feelings to who you are. And so your self-confidence and self-worth is rooted in that, not just the dispassion of your emotions. So how can you, rebuild yourself? Go back to believing in who you are, first of all. And then number two, find out the things that motivate you. Because most often we tend to pour or discharge much of our emotions to things that we feel motivated about, things that we think, boosts our confidence, and begin to do those things, begin to engage in those things. All right. Because in doing that, you are building up positive emotions because you are doing what you love. And you see, this can all happen even whilst you are in, quote and unquote, a relationship that diminishes you. But if it is just emotional diminishing, sometimes it is because the other partner, and now because it's a woman, sometimes there are men who may not intend to hurt their partner, but there are men who don't really understand the unique expression of the femininity of a woman, to know that women are emotional creatures. And so sometimes they can say things that hurt the woman, because most times if a woman is emotionally diminished, it's probably because she's hearing things that hurt her. So perhaps that man needs to understand women and how they behave. I think it's a problem we have in relationships where women don't understand men as men, and men don't understand women as women. And because of that, there's a conflict of interest. If that is the case, but you know the man genuinely loves you, then you need to find a way to at best communicate to him how he can become positive towards you, to revive and rebuild your emotions. But if he does that because he doesn't understand how to communicate your emotions, and also because he doesn't love you, then walk away. Now, this is the kind of question that breeds many questions. So I would stop here because um, if you try to answer further, it will have to be um, custom made to a particular relationship. So let's put it there. But whoever that person is, I hope this suits, at best stands at their answer. They can also talk to us if there is more the person needs to know about this, so we can further. But this is how I think you can rebuild your emotion. Remember the bedrock, the consciousness of who you are, your identity. Once you don't lose that, emotions that are depleted can rise again. And also, I don't think it is good when just to boost your emotions, in quotes, you now start having a side boyfriend, because now there's side boyfriend. It's not a side chick, side boyfriend.
In case anything goes wrong,
this one
I have this
excites me. This one is charging me. This one, let's just be here because we are here. He has seen my parents, or he has the money to spend. No, not really. You don't need to shift grounds on important virtues as faithfulness, as loyalty, and truth. Remember, truth is one of the foundations of a relationship. Just because the other person is wrong doesn't mean you should be wrong. It's not a do me, I do you know. That's not the language of love.
Well, we have the last question on this segment. It's a little bit long. The question is
and before you continue that last question, I just remembered another thing that can help boost your emotions is an intimate and well-defined relationship with God. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Well, that's for the person to accept, to have one. Thank you. Let's go
for
on.
Your strength. Thank you so much.
Sure.
All right. So this person says, I dated this guy for the period of 1 year.
Okay, this is an actual scenario.
Yes.
Okay.
I dated this guy for a period of 1 year.
You see, I told you, he doesn't survive 2 years. Go on.
And then the second year of the relationship, first month of that year, we had almost like 60% of our lives planned together for the year. And then
the first month of the first year.
Yes.
Okay.
And then this person just went mute on me. No explanation to why and where he was. I sent tons of messages and there was no response. And I later on yielded myself to the Holy Spirit to help me recover from this shock.
Which you should have done before you began the relationship.
Exactly. Well, I was able to move on. Now, the problem is, after it's literally 2 years now, I would say, just a few months away. And then this guy is back in my DM without explanation, still asking for a second chance. How do I set boundaries without guilt, especially when you are naturally nurturing?
My simple answer is go back and yield to the Holy Spirit who helped you to overcome that shock and come out from that heartbreak. This person mentioned the Holy Spirit. That means this person is a person of faith. See, we get into relationships and then we ghost out every positive influence that helps in our decision making, which is wrong. If you had to yield to God's leading to start something, you need to yield to his leading to sustain that thing. And other thing is, a relationship is a platform for mutual discovery, mutual understanding. These are things that must be put in place. Now, there are many reasons for why that kind of action can happen, actually. But you see, I still go back to my simple answer. If the person is back, before you think of going again into what can become another heartbreak, yield to the Holy Spirit. And then number two, that person should have a proper explanation for why he went mute.
So I think that from this question, sir, I think
the person didn't provide.
She has moved on.
Yes.
Now her question is, how should she set boundaries with this person?
Simple, don't talk to him. Because if he's coming back now, did he explain why he went mute on you, why he ghosted you?
No, there's no explanation.
If he's not explaining anything, then you have nothing to do with him. That 1 year, 1 month was enough test to know this is not somebody who is serious with commitment, and such you shouldn't continue. So move on. Start the communication. But sometimes they don't, because a part of them is still there. And now that becomes,
that part of you should come back to your house.
that becomes complicated, because now what will you tell somebody who wants to move on, but the one part is still there. Make a decision. I think that's one of the signs of adulthood and maturity, that you are able to make decisions based on your convictions and stay to it, whether they are right or wrong.
So, sir, this segment is healing, restoration, and hope. We have a few questions here that are really amazing, I would
All
say.
right. All
So
right.
the first question goes like this: how does someone love again after heartbreak without becoming guarded or bitter? Being able to love without trying to guard your heart or being bitter.
You'll be able to love again when you have completely healed.
Hmm.
The sign to know you are healed completely in your emotions is that you are able to love again without being bitter, without holding back or being restrained.
Hmm.
And it takes love to heal. It takes love to heal. I think love is the only therapy that the heart understands. It's the only venison, is the only elixir that goes into the heart of a man and brings restoration.
Hmm.
Will make you feel you don't generalize one experience and treat every other person because you had this experience. And the Bible says in 1 John chapter 5, verses 4, rather verse 19, it says, there is no fear in love, for perfect love casts out fear. And that perfect love can only be gotten when you come to Jesus, who is love personified. So that's the reason why, if you have healed, it's possible to love again. And it's something that you will need the Lord Jesus to help you with, to reintroduce you to his version of love.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. So the next person says, what does God actually restore after emotional loss? Is it people, peace, or perspective?
I'll go for B, peace.
Peace.
That's what calms the trouble and the storm of your emotions.
Mm,
Yes, so God restores peace.
thank you so much, sir. So the presence of peace is a sign that God is restoring someone.
Of course, of course, of course. Peace, in fact, is a sign that you are restored. It's a
Thank you
sign
so
that you
much,
have
sir.
restored.
Thank you, sir. Well, this person says, can singleness be a season of crowning and not punishment?
Okay, crowning as in.
So I think I spoke about crowning earlier as the knowing whose you are. So is it a moment where God is teaching you to first know your identity in him, or is it a punishment? I think this is what the person is trying to ask.
First of all, if God punishes you as an individual, it's because you are his child and he loves you. Punishments are meant to correct.
Yes.
And so if you are not mature enough to handle a relationship and God deliberately keeps you single, it's first of all a sign that you are his, you are yielded to him, because the fact that God is sovereign doesn't mean he exerts his authority everywhere. No. His authority on our lives is commensurate to our submission to his government, to his leadership. So if you find the Lord exercising restraint on the life of a man, is because that man is submitted to a high degree. So if God is punishing you, consider it as correction, not as hatred, to be single. Because if the reason why he doesn't want you to be in a relationship is because you cannot handle the pressure and the responsibility that comes with it, you are in danger to yourself and to the other person. So it's good you are single. But then, singleness is a blessing because it is a time of discovery, of growth, of development. It is, in fact, the best time to accelerate on the path to purpose when you are single. Yes, there's a lot you can do when you are alone. Of course, when you come into the company of somebody else, you can do more. but the speed will be less. You see that?
That's because you're no longer alone
But
at
you're no
this
longer
point.
alone.
And you have to consider the other person in every decision.
Everything. And if you're not ready for that, there's no need for you to be with somebody. Singleness is a blessing. I don't think anybody, it's not a curse. It's not a curse. Remember, you are alone. You are not lonely. And definitely, when you are alone, fulfilling purpose, even the creator of heaven and earth said it's not good for a man on the path of divine purpose to remain alone. Definitely somebody else. And sometimes, with maturity has a way of gravitating the right relationship into your lives. Sometimes it's like life answers to our growth. There are certain things that will be restrained from us, but as you grow with time, it will naturally just come in place. So you will find that you may not even be looking for a relationship at that time when you meet the right person. That's because it was the right version of you that met. You were prepared for the moment. And I think a prepared person is better. You see that? So I think that's how it is. Singleness is a blessing. If you are single, take time to love God, build your relationship with God, build your faith, develop yourself, build your career, do things that can help you, and wait for when you will have a partner to help you pursue what you already are pursuing at that time. But if you say singleness was a punishment in your case, it's because God truly loves you. Because when God loves somebody, he restrains and he chastises them so they can be corrected and then become better at what they do. So that's my take on that.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, if you're still watching this session, I have something that just dropped in my heart and I would like to share that I would do because I'll go back and rewatch so I'll learn more. Write some of these things that AJ said so that you can paste them in your room. You'll be reading it to reassure yourself of whose you are. I think that will work for everybody.
Yeah, I think
Thank you
so.
so much.
Yes, I think
Thank you
so.
so much, sir. So now we have two more questions in this segment, and this person says, how do you forgive without reopening doors that should stay closed?
How do you forgive without reopening doors that should stay closed? What kind of doors should stay closed? Is the first question. Because if you truly want to forgive, um, it should be with an unreserved approach. Not putting yourself, of course, it still puts you at the risk, but calculated risk. That's the reason why we spoke earlier and I talked about matching forgiveness with forbearance. You need to know that humans are frail in their nature, they are fallible, they are prone and susceptible to errors and mistakes. And you need to be ready with that. However, for the sake of trust, make sure you allow people that you are in love with, because love has brought the acceptance, but trust will test the competence. Make sure you allow them to earn their trust. Even if they came into the house of your heart freely, they should earn the right to stay there. I think that's how you can keep certain doors closed and forgive. Yes. And then have moral values as a person. Have a value system. And these value systems are based on your ideologies, your convictions about life. And your value systems should be the same with the person you are dating or should be supported by that person so they understand your boundaries. For instance, if you discover your partner cheated on you, first of all, the basis for forgiveness is that we are human. But after forgiveness, the decision of keeping them or letting them go should be based on your values.
Very true.
What can you take and what can you not take? And these are things that should have been communicated over time. And that's why I encourage young singles who want to go into a relationship, especially this Valentine now that they will go there, to understand that relationship is a time to study and learn one another. You people are not just there as if you are in a school bus going somewhere, you don't talk to each other, it's only during events. No, you are there and you must communicate frequently because you need to know this person to make a lifelong commitment. I don't know if what I've said makes sense to this person.
So we're moving on to faith versus reality.
All right.
Church questions people whisper.
Church questions.
People whisper.
Okay.
People don't really say, but they whisper them.
Okay, they whisper.
Yes.
Okay, let's whisper some of them now.
So the first question we have on this segment, in this segment, I mean, when people say pray about it, what should someone do when prayer does not immediately change their relationship reality?
Seek counsel. And also go for self-appraisal. While you are praying, do a cross-examination. Yourself, the partner, the relationship. Sometimes we get the answer to questions we ask ourselves. And then seek counsel. All right? Faith is not the basis for laziness or for apathy. No, you have to be strategic about solutions. And true faith helps you to be strategic about finding solutions to sin. So cross-examination, self-examination should be added to prayer, as well as counsel, seeking counsel. That's why I encourage people in romantic relationships to find suitable individuals that they submit to. Yes. For counsel, for guidance, because what you are doing, you are not the first to do it.
True.
And there are people ahead of you. So that's my take on that.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think the key word here is seek counsel. Just talk to somebody. Thank you so much for that, sir. So this next question, the person asks, can God lead two people together and still allow the relationship to end?
Yes. Because the two of them must decide to stay together. God can be the foundation for the relationship, but God is dealing with two free moral agents.
True.
And God will always allow us to exercise the right to our will, whether it is opposed or proposed to his plans for us. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. That was one of the most straightforward quick answer so far. Thank you so much for that, sir. The next question, this person is asking, is it spiritual to endure emotional neglect in the name of submission or patience?
Is it spiritual to endure or ignore?
Endure.
Okay, endure.
Emotional neglect in the name of submission or patience.
First of all, it's not a robot submitting to a human being. It's a human being. And submission in a relationship is to one another. Then submission in a marital union is the wife to the husband. And the husband has the role of loving, which if you look at it in another side, loving somebody is still because you're submitting yourself. You're loving that person to sacrifice yourself. But don't neglect the emotion of your partner. And I think it's something that should be worked on. And in this context, both the man and woman have emotions. In fact, the trouble with men's emotions seems to be deeper than with women. Yes, especially when you bring it into the African context. Men don't always talk too much. And that's a big problem.
Very true.
When someone's not talking. There are many reasons for why they are bottled up or they have a lot of things contained within. So the woman should go on an ultimate search to find how to get her husband to talk. And not just talking on irrelevant things. No. Find what gets his attention. Find what gets him to talk. And in talking, you'll be able to find the state of his emotions. And same for the women who want to, who prioritize their emotions too. It's a hard job for men, and the reason is because of how men are built. Sometimes men are brief and concise on things women want to be detailed. So it's a clash of personality. That's why I said earlier that men should understand women as women, and women should understand a man as a man. Treat the man based on your understanding of the fact that he is a man. And the reason why women are more detailed on things men are brief and concise on is because men are foresighted, but women have insight. So a woman wants you to read in between the lines. She'll want you to look at her face and know something is wrong with her shoulder. She'll want all of that. And that tends to task the man. And it's something that sometimes men should endure. But as a woman who wants your emotions to be placated, you have to support the man. If you want him to know something is wrong with you, help him know. Give him a clue. And if he's not getting it, give him more clues. Help him understand. Don't just leave it as, oh, you wake up and he doesn't care about me. It happens in marriage. He doesn't care about my emotions. He doesn't even have time to sit down with me. And sometimes the man may be doing that for a genuine reason. Maybe he's worried about bills to pay. Or maybe he too has things he's bottled up. That's the reason why I think when two people are going to get married, one of the things they should agree on at the beginning of the marriage is how to communicate. Communication is the lifeline of every relationship. If I have a problem that I want us to tackle together, what is the posture, the mode, the position, the place of communication? For instance, this is my advice. In front of your bed, that's if you are married, have a seat there so that whoever wakes up in the morning and sees the other person on that seat know that we need to talk. That's enough sign. Yes, but you wanting him to know what's wrong with you and help you, and you are not helping him to find out, you just stay there like a car and you want him to find out where the problem is. No, it's in the radiator. No, it's in the carburetor.
And talking about this communication, it reminds me of a video I saw. So the man said they have an invisible room housemate with his wife. And what happens is there's a Peter that is invisible. So when the wife does something that he is not okay with, he blames Peter.
He goes into the room and starts
talking to Peter, and the wife is
listening. When the wife is listening, so she knows that she's Peter.
Likewise. So if he does something, the wife starts talking to Peter. Why did you do this thing? Babe, can you imagine? Peter did this, and then the husband knows that, oh, he did something.
That's a good way for emotional. Yes. But I think maturity in a relationship to grow to a point where the two of you should be lovingly bold with each other to tell each other the truth. Yes, we should grow to that point.
But in a situation, I think this person, what if the person is able to communicate his or her feelings, and then there is still neglect, or the other partner, still ignores what they say?
Then give them you talked about the Peter something.
Yes.
That's also a channel. Yes. By sending signals through those kinds of actions. Or pray about it if you're a person of faith. If God is the bond in your union, he knows how to trouble the heart of a man. True. I mean, the Bible says that the heart of a man is in the hands, the heart of a king is in the hands of he's your king. So God will trouble his heart. I know a mentor who told me one day in his morning devotion or his private time with the Lord that God told him, this is someone who had been married for 23 years. He said that God told him that this is your wife, you have to be careful how you treat her because how you treat her affects your relationship with me. God told him that. Wow. You know what it means. From honey, from there, honey. You know, yes, I know of another pastor, a religious leader who was always traveling here and there, and his wife, no time for the family and all of that. And while he was praying one day, he said the Lord told him, your wife is not happy with you. And she was at the other side of the room, at the other side of the bed. So as the Lord, he just said, honey, what? So we should find ways to communicate. And if it's not working, sometimes an agreed third party helps. Sometimes people should not have negative perspective about third parties. Like after this, what I'm saying now, you will see on the comment section somebody say, Apostle, forget that thing, or AJ, forget that thing, third party. No, don't have it. Don't use one experience or your personal experience. That's why I said agree third party. There should be somebody two of us can talk with that should be able to scold or help correct or rebuke either of us. I think we can stop it there so we don't overstretch it.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think in a nutshell, you as the partner, whoever is asking this question, make sure you try every possible means and these examples that Apostle just gave to make sure your relationship with the person you're with works out. Don't just opt out because you think the person is neglecting you emotionally. Thank you so much. We have two questions left.
Okay.
The second to the last one, this person is asking, how do you hear God clearly when emotions are loud and
How do you hear God clearly when emotions are loud and confusing? I'll give you a simple answer. If your emotions are loud and confusing, then maybe you need to detach from a physical contact point. The emotions may be loud because you are close to or proximal to somebody. Maybe you may need to step a bit or detach. And then at other times, if you want to hear from the Lord, you need to understand the place of waiting on God. Waiting on God is not fasting, it's bringing your soul to a point of stillness and bringing silence to your physical environment. When you're able to quiet down all the noise in your soul, the rumbling your emotions, which happens because you patiently wait in prayer, you'll be able to hear God. But people are not always patient to wait. That's the reason why they come out more confused.
Thank you so much, sir, for that response. Well, our last question, which was the one I moved.
All right. So
the
let's
reason
hear
why
it.
I moved that question, sir, is because one of the things I said during the introduction is that we'll be talking about what love should look like.
Okay.
When God is involved. And this person question is basically the same thing. What should love look like if God is involved? I really want to know. I don't want to step into a relationship without fully understanding this context.
You just mentioned one word, understanding. If God is involved, there's going to be understanding. There's going to be virtue. There's going to be growth. There's going to be truth. And since you are bringing God to the question, maybe you should read 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and see everything that love is there. And then find that or pray to have that in that relationship if God is involved.
Thank you so much, sir, for this moment. At this point, I would leave the floor to you for a few minutes for anything that's all you have to say to us and everyone watching online.
Well, I think this is a podcast that should be watched again and again. And sometimes for you to accept truth, you must be willing to surrender pre-existing opinions. I don't think we should be hostile towards the truth, especially when it's coming from a perspective that we are not used to. So sometimes, because somebody will watch this and disagree at some point, and it's true, it's okay to disagree, but notice that most true relationships, disagreements aid deeper agreements. So please take away religious or cultural, personal or sentimental sentiments and just open yourself to the answers revealed. And of course, share it with everybody around your space and make sure you watch it before you go for Valentine. Okay, so you don't go and what I ordered versus what I got before I ordered it. All right, so it can really bless you. But I think I'm so excited that we were able to do this and then be able to attend to some of these questions, because really a lot of people need help in these areas and they should get help from the right sources. And the right and greatest source is the Word of God.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are really honored. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine.
Well, back to you all. This session is for you. Yes, you that is watching right now. And it's not just for you alone. You have friends, you have sisters, you have brothers. Make sure you share this podcast with them so they can also be blessed and they can learn something that will save them in future. Thank you so much for watching. Our next session, I know, is going to be amazing. Calm down. I know you will love it. But enjoy this one for now. Thank you and see you again.
On
Wait
Let's Talk.
on Let's Talk. Let's Talk is on. Just stay glued to your screen. Bye.